Have you ever taken a photo and noticed something in the background that shouldn't be there? A face, a figure, or unexplained lights? Creepy, right? How much scarier is it when they appear in pictures taken in the dead of space, when no one can hear you scream? 10. At the end of one's tether. The USA and Italy celebrated the 75th space mission in 1996 by sending an experimental tether into orbit. The aim was to investigate new sources of power, namely a way to cleanly harness solar wind to power spacecraft. As the shuttle crew began deploying the satellite, the umbilical tether snapped, sending the oval-shaped equipment drifting off in the direction of deep space. The mission video shows unexplained bright objects flying around the detached tether like wasps buzzing around a nest. NASA conveniently omitted the bright lights from the mission report, and to date has refused to acknowledge or explain the bizarre phenomenon. Did the objects approach to investigate the bizarre floating piece of space junk? Or were they responsible for the tether snapping in the first place? 9. Fancy a cup of tea? Apollo 16 took off on April 16th, 1972. After just 11 days in space, the 3 astronauts on board saw something so unbelievable it demands attention. They caught a glimpse of a strange circular-shaped craft with a great dome-like structure. They managed to capture a short video lasting only a few seconds, which clearly showed the anomalous UFO. In a typical deny-everything fashion, the tape mysteriously vanished for over 30 years. Even more unbelievable is the fact that no copies were made. Well, that's what they thought. A worker stumbled across the tape at Johnson Space Center. Thanks to some digital wizardry, a high-res scan of the tape allowed for a more detailed look at the object. Concentric white and gold circles cover the dome and a long, thin structure extending from the side. For all intents and purposes, that's a flying saucer. 8. I see the light. The Mars rover Curiosity is the gift that keeps giving. It's still operational and sending data back to this day, a full 6 years longer than expected. On the 3rd of April, 2014, our little friend picked up a Martian beacon of light. In the distance, behind the cover of a dune, a bright light beam can be seen extending up into the sky past the horizon. The light was picked up by the right camera, though strangely not by the left. Easily explained, as there is a delay between the two cameras, and the light turned off before the left side camera activated. NASA suggested it was a glare shining off a glistening rock. Doubtful, as the image was taken during a period of low light. They then said a cosmic ray hit the camera sensor, but if this was true, there would be image anomalies every day. The kicker is that the same beam of light was picked up again in an earlier photo. Try explaining that. 7. Martian Sasquatch. Could Mars be home to alien hominids? The answer? Well, maybe. The Mars rover picked up a confronting image that is yet to be explained by NASA, or as we like to refer to them, never a straight answer. Whether a life form or a sculpted statue, there is no denying that this is not just a natural rock formation and trick of the light. A plausible explanation could be it's just a case of pareidolia. This bizarre phenomenon is behind people claiming an Elvis-shaped kidney bean or finding the face of Jesus Christ on a burnt piece of toast. Are we looking for alien life so hard that we imagine it everywhere? Or is this just a convenient cover story and the truth of whether alien life exists is sitting right under our noses? 6. Not one of ours. An amateur astronomer witnessed a bizarre object orbiting the Earth back in 2012. It was also observed by a larger telescope in Italy, who estimated it to be around 60 feet long, oval in shape, and spinning around on its axis at around 1 revolution per minute. They dubbed it J002E3. The rotations caused the object to alternate its luminosity, but even so, NASA's UFO program failed to detect it when scanning near-Earth space for anomalies. They commented that it did not match any space debris from recently launched spacecraft, and that it must have entered Earth's orbit fairly recently. It had a bizarre looping orbit which was inherently unstable, causing the object to leave Earth's orbit, where it settled again in a solar orbit. Experts say it'll come back to visit in around 30 years based on projections, while enthusiasts claim it was an alien craft. 5. We got the nukes. Back in 2009, NASA launched the LaCrosse mission to the moon. But in reality, many people described it rather like a kamikaze mission, because once it was in orbit, the 2.2-ton payload rocket booster was fired at the moon because reasons. The rocket went inside the Cabeus crater near the southern pole of the moon, impacting and creating a huge plume of dust and debris. The mission aim was to have a lunar reconnaissance orbiter take samples during a fly-through to determine if moon craters contain frozen water. Images sent back from the mission show a rectangular structure in the shadow of the crater, leading some to suggest that NASA dropped a nuclear weapon on a moon base, with a search for water just a huge cover story. Alien headquarters or foreign government research facility. 4. Thunderstruck. While a probe was orbiting the moon in 1972, NASA caught a glimpse of bizarre flash of lightning within the dark shadow of the Stein crater. It's unsure if the discharge of electricity is hitting the moon's surface or rising up from deep beneath it. This gave rise to the conspiracy theory that there's an underground moon base buried in the crater. Not as far-fetched as you think, as the US government has drawn up secret plans for a moon base. They even had detailed schematics. It was called Project Horizon, with the aim to be finished in 1966 at the cost of $6 billion to the taxpayer. But it was shut down by President Eisenhower. Another explanation is that it could be a lightning sprite. These are seen on Earth when lightning spreads out in the cloud, dissipating before it touches down to the ground. This would be a logical explanation, if only the moon had an atmosphere. 3. Man in the Moon. First, there was Google Earth, which prompted keyboard detectives around the world to reveal some oddities that deserve their own top 10 list. Not content with ruffling so many jimmies, Google doubled down when they teamed up with NASA in 2009 to create the rather unimaginably named Google Moon. It took no time at all for some internet super sleuth to scour the surface of the moon and find something extremely unusual. There appears to be a shadowy figure taking a leisurely stroll up there on the lunar surface. We're not saying it's a giant. NASA have refused to comment on the bizarre silhouette and even left it on Google Moon. Denial of the truth or epic troll? 2. Take me to your leader. The Martian surface is a vast desert of rock and red dust, or so we thought. The Mars Opportunity rover sent back an extraordinary image on the 17th of March 2017 of what appears to be a huge chunk of shiny, reflective metal poking out of the ground. It's unlike anything seen in any of the other images we've received from the mission. Dark shadowing around the anomaly makes it different to see whether it's coming up from the ground, resting on the ground, or hovering in the air. It really does look exactly how you imagine an alien spacecraft to look, a round flat disc, with a raised dome on top acting like a cockpit. The resemblance is uncanny. Could this be another case of pareidolia, where we see what we want to see, or finally some evidence of the existence of intelligent life other than mankind? 1. Otherworldly standing stone. Here on planet Earth, many civilizations have erected rectangular slabs of stone to pay tribute to the paganistic gods and rituals. There is Stonehenge in England, the Karnak stones in France. The list is endless. We're still trying to figure out how ancient humans built these towering structures, let alone how one got on Mars. In 2012, an astronomer caught sight of a monolithic standing stone on the Martian surface. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter confirmed the structure and can be seen casting a long shadow present in images from 2 completely different angles. It's estimated to be over 5 meters in diameter, with its straight, rectangular sides screaming out, "I was made, not formed," from the otherwise curvy and natural landscape.